we can retrain ourselves to celebrate an advancement, an expansion, a learning that we can all then benefit from.
Well, hello everyone, and hello Katie.
Hello, Soph. Just love seeing you and your bright mushrooms and sprouting. This is
I know. I was like, this is a good fall, right? It's such a pretty, I love mushrooms. They're so beautiful. And
we're finding out just how amazing mushrooms are. That wonderful film, Fantastic Fungi.
Yeah.
And the whole interconnectedness and how they support everything and might actually solve everything, because they can, eat plastics and, regenerate all kinds of things. So
it's funny because yesterday, one of my dear friends sent me an article she wrote, and it's a picture of mushrooms on both sides. And then underneath, they shaking hands, they have this metaphor. And the article was called, Why would the world be so well if we were more like mushrooms?
I totally agree. Yeah. And that whole sense of, I think a lot of what we're talking about is when we can connect at that essential level, that we really can change the whole structure, how we relate and what we give attention to, all that.
This is a perfect segue. Thank you. Because something yesterday that I thought if we could get our hands and hearts and brains together, because something happened that really puzzled me And so I play pickleball. And I'm on the court, and I've been practicing now for a while, playing and learning, and a bit of my story, of course. So I just lost a good amount of weight, but I never was athletic, and I've never learned a sport, so I don't have the usual stamina that people have, like, oh, you win, you lose, blah blah blah, like none of that. So a certain number of things came together that yesterday I played like a champ. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It was just, I was at the ball. It was gracious. There was no shuffling. I was just there. It was just like an absolutely delicious experience.
And it sounds also as if you were poised and ready and could move in different directions and felt a confidence in your body.
Yes.
So, yes.
All of those. And when I was playing before, literally until yesterday, the way I would describe myself is I play a little bit like I don't know what I'm doing. Like I show up, to not threaten. I show up a little bit like, well, I'm pretty new at this, there's a little bit of that. Not yesterday. Yesterday, I was like, I knew what I was doing. I played well. I won against two people that were clearly better than us, but our partnership and our flow, blah, blah, blah. Well, so I'll tell you how I walked out of the court, and I'll tell you why I think it happened, but really, I'd love to hear your take on it.
Yeah.
I walked out and I literally said the sentence, it's actually more fun when I'm a loser. So this is what happened. When I play, like I'm some cute kid that doesn't really know what she's doing,
Yeah. I'm just here trying out. Exactly. I'm not a threat.
No, not a threat. Not, no worries. Everybody lowers their game a little bit to not, So typically, until yesterday, when I miss a ball, people are like, "Oh, but it's okay. You'll get it soon. One day you're going to see, something." Or I do a good ball, and then people are like, "Oh, Sophie did a good ball," right? Because I'm like this child, that all of a sudden I'm able to put one step in front of the other.
Good, Sophie. Good.
Very much like that energy of like, "Oh my God." So yesterday, there was none of that. None of the sweet, none of the supporting, none of the cheering. I actually did a ball. You should have, I wish I had a video. I caught a ball, both my feet are off the ground, like I'm in the air, and I'm doing a backhand. Like, this is like, nobody said a peep. Nobody said a peep. And I was like, oh, because I was winning. And well, this is what I'm imagining. I'm imagining that there's a little bit of like, annoyance on their part because I'm playing better. I'm imagining they feel bad that they missed the ball, which usually is it was so rich. And I walked out of there and I've been with it the whole lot. I mean, I was really looking forward to our conversation because I was like, what is this? Like, why does it feel like I felt like as a winner, I was responsible for something bigger. And now I was going to be expected to be
So it unleashed just a whole bunch of stories, it sounded like, but also a whole bunch of our stories around sports, and the big word that was coming up to me is competition.
Yes.
Yeah, and the hidden rules, especially for women, around competition.
Yes.
So one of the things that also occurred to me as you were saying this is that ever since I was a little kid, I cannot stand it that somebody has to lose.
Yeah.
I just, and with sports that, at school, and sports that I would see on television, and, someone would be playing really well, like particularly like in tennis, which is closest to pickleball, when there'd be two really great players, I say, how come one of them has to lose? And we have that whole, which I consider kind of an up-down dynamic. It's sort of a power over kind of situation, rather than we're playing together and we're all doing our best. And it's for our collective creativity, our collective furthering of what we can create together. But this whole win-lose thing, I think, has so many different rules about letting other people go ahead of you. And what happens to you, particularly as a woman, if you get really good. I think that there's, and it's not just for women. I think that the part of the arc of civilization has been, let's elevate someone and then let's tear them down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's God save the king, let's kill the king.
Mm-hmm.
And, we see that throughout history, and women haven't been allowed to play that game very much. And so when you come into, did you notice there were there were different ways that they were looking at you or engaging with you? Because it sounds like you moved out of a category of, she's not a threat. She's not a threat. That was just what was coming to me. She's not a threat to us, so we can kind of, treat her. It's almost like treat her like a pet. She's doing really well. Just keep it up, Soph.
Yeah, exactly. But then if you start to keep it up too well, too much. So there's that level, there's that degree that I hear you and I hear the competition, and I've always stayed away from it. But in reality, I felt really good that I played so well.
Yes,
I did.
And what I was seeing is that as you were talking about that, you kind of shrunk a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so I'm wondering if you had really celebrated, and kind of strutted around, that would have been a context shifter. But I'm just wondering if you had any inclination to want to strut some. It looks like it's very nervous making for you.
Strutting was not, a couple of balls that I did do my backhand flip thing that was literally like I would have never been able to even lift myself off the ground before. So right. There was a lot of things to celebrate. It was a brief, I was like, I got that ball. That was really good. I think where it played out, it was more when it really, it's funny because my brother always joked that I don't ever let a situation be a situation. It's always like, oh, what's underneath? What's there? What can we learn? I'm always like, and sometimes he's like, a cup of coffee is just a cup of coffee. Like, just like leave it to that. No, I don't leave it to that. So I was definitely deconstructing, and the most I can tell you, and it's beautiful that we're doing it right now because I'm so still in it.
Yes,
but I'm not all processed on the other side. I'm like in it. So it's really fun for me. So hopefully, for others. So what was really striking was my sense of loneliness. When before I would have felt like they're with me, they wish me well, they want me to do well, which felt very much like togetherness. This very much felt like you're on your own. Like you're, if you do a good ball, be happy that you did, and then move on to the next ball. Like there's no need to also be like, oh my God, like I didn't cure cancer with that ball either, but it was a good ball. So good ball, moving on. That's the ideal stance. But the loneliness of like someone commented on someone else's ball, and my ball was like 10 times better. Like it was so much more, and they didn't say anything. And my feeling was like, what about me?
Yeah.
What about me? I did a really good ball.
Yeah. Well, this is just so rich. I'm getting all kinds of different images. And one of them was, I'm imagining that, all through your growing up and your adulthood up until this moment, you hadn't received that kind of Whoa, fantastic. That kind of, we appreciate what you're doing and how much you're growing. And yeah, look at you. You know that I'm so proud of you kind of attention and look and so just having a little bit of that and then having it withdrawn because you're now competitive.
Yeah.
So it's really different to and my sense is too that it does have that how you treat a child and how you treat, oh, okay, now, all right, your practice time is over.
Yes.
Okay, now
And
we're in the ring
now
together.
you're right to me, or you're a competition to me, and now I have to. So I wouldn't be. It's not enough for me to be like, oh, okay, so maybe I don't, because I actually enjoy not the competition. That's not the word. I don't like the beating of the other, but the winning means that I played well, that I played, I'm improving. I'm playing against people that are better and better. And so it says lots of really good things as well. So I don't want to be like, well, you know what? It's just a game. Whether I win or lose makes no difference.
It does make a difference. That's all what people say when they're not dealing with competition.
Yes.
And in what we're also acknowledging is that I was just remembering a line to a poem that I had started, and it starts with everything eats everything.
Yes.
So the acknowledgement that life and death is going on all around us and that competition may mean that you live or die.
Yeah.
And that part of our sports is acknowledging that survival of the fittest still goes on. And there's a lot of our physiology and our wiring that's about I'm gonna survive. I'm gonna be the one who survives.
And if it means beating you, I'm gonna do that. Yeah.
Yes. And so it activates, I think, these other parts of our brain that are not nice, that are really about, if it's you or me, baby, it's gonna be me. Yeah. And I think that women haven't really been allowed to play in that arena and, to really celebrate, bloodlust and, holding someone's head up for the rest of the tribe to celebrate that we conquered because, oh my goodness, that's just so not.
That's not feminine. That's not
feminine. It's not nurturing. It's not, gathering people and feeding them and that kind of thing. So I'm imagining a whole lot of generational stuff that came up for you. But in that moment, I mean, for me, this brings up one of the things I was thinking about before we were recording today is how we are in the old game paradigm, of win, lose, and what I call the triangle, the hero, victim, villain, and that somebody's the victim and somebody saves them and somebody's the bad guy, so that whole paradigm is continuing to play out in a way that is now, reaching, it's become bankrupt in so many ways and so destructive that are shifting to new games and new ways of relating to each other, I think is so essential. So you're really just pointing out, even in modern life and even in pickleball, which is probably one of the friendliest sports there is, that really allow people to connect. But what you lost then was the connection. And that, it seems to me that that's what we're moving toward is how can we move together to create something new? And it's also changing some of the old paradigms. So even when we go back to, I was just thinking about the sperm and the egg and sperms, we've always thought that the sperm that gets there first gets the egg, that competition. And we're now finding that's totally wrong. So the fundamental story we've been telling ourselves for thousands of years is wrong. So the sperm are really like a bicycle race. where everybody is going together, and some people are, some sperm get out in front and then they sort of take the hits and then they move and somebody else moves out in front. And it's a collective enterprise. And then when they get to this huge space where the egg is there, the egg is so much bigger than the sperm. It's like you walking into a football field, and the football stadium is the egg, and there's tiny little you. So what we now know is that the egg actually pulls in the sperm that it wants.
Oh,
yes. So there is the cytoplasmic arms that come out from the egg and draw in the sperm. So it's a completely different story. It's like, how can we support new life, the continuation of human species, and that it is a collaboration. So it is a competition in that it's us against all of the forces that would make us not survive.
Yeah.
But that the whole idea of the individual, like there's the winner, and we don't talk about, or really acknowledge all of the things that went into making that person the winner. Even if it's a football player or a basketball player, their team, their trainers, they're all, but we don't really acknowledge that it's like they won.
Yeah.
And, my sense is that that's costing us so much now. And particularly that the loneliness of feeling disconnected because now you're a threat.
It's beautiful. This, oh my God, the egg and the sperm. What a shit. It's like you just realize that we should be walking on our heads instead of our feet. You're just like, what? It's like, what? So the thing that moved me deeply as you were talking is remembering this story. They use it in leadership to describe, but these flocks of birds, when they're going south, to migrate, and the way they form, like this triangle, that's gorgeous thing that all of a sudden they all make a right or they all make a left. Like I'm always like, how did you guys know to all make a right now? Like that's, do you have a Facebook page I don't know anything about? Like it's always been like. But what's really beautiful is people who study birds, apparently the front bird leads for a while, and then it kind of lets that spot to somebody else so he can rest. And then someone else takes the lead, and then the other one recharges. And it's like a complete collaboration of like who, and if there's a weak one, if there's one that has, maybe less strength in their wings or whatever, that they put them in the middle. They put them in the middle somehow.
It's just that's just so touching. It was reminding me also of gorillas and chimps. When they're the silverback comes in the rear so that he can protect the weaker members of the collective, of the tribe, and our ideas about particularly the survival of the fittest is just so antithetical to how nature actually works. That if you look anywhere, and we're discovering, like trees talk to each other.
Or mushrooms. We were just saying mushrooms are connected.
And all of these, and also animal species, aside from humans, really operate much more as protecting the collective rather than favoring the individual. And I was remembering too in school where we were taking a look at the basic differences between Eastern and Western civilization. And Western civilization is about the individual, individual destiny, and Eastern civilization is about the collective. And both of them can go to extremes, that the individual completely gets ignored and nobody gets to do what they want to do with their life because they do what they're assigned, and that kind of thing. But, my sense is that now Western civilization and, the whole, in America, the whole manifest destiny and, we know what's best and we're going to just conquer everybody. And rather than saying they might have something to contribute to our collective survival, if we don't get that lesson, it's a serious off the cliff kind of situation right now.
And isn't it funny that in this little mini scenario of my little pickleball. I mean, obviously it's not a giant problem, but somehow the activation of those feelings are similar. It's not that.
Well, I think that's why we play sports. And I think that in all cultures, children are taught to play sports to prepare for what they will do as adults. So throwing things and kicking things so that you can aim. So you get so you can aim and do that effectively, and all kinds of, like running together and doing different things together is so that you can join together to, go chase an animal or to gather herbs, and that everybody, somebody will know this one and somebody else will know that one. And so together you're stronger than you are individually. But then it brings up the whole questions of who makes the decisions.
Yeah.
Does somebody get to be in charge, or more people, like a committee, gets to be in charge? And so I think, it may seem like a little thing, but to me, you're really illustrating, how do we go from here to there together as a collective? And also, we're suffering so much now as as a society from people feeling distanced, and disconnected from what is going on, and how can I participate in what's going on, and all of those steps that people have to take to be like, you're one of us. So the in group and the out group. So your example just points to so many things about how we organize society.
And if we were to continue the parallel with nature, there is such a thing as the alpha dog. There is such a thing where, as a tribe, as a group, they kind of, and the alpha dog has to do something. Sometimes it's just your size, but sometimes they have to do the thing that's like all the other dogs are like, oh, okay, all right, you're the guy, you're the guy, but you're the girl.
Right, yeah. And my sense is too that the alpha dog is in a hierarchical structure, and there are some species who do that, but there are also a huge number of species where they alternate, just like you were talking about with the geese, that they alternate leadership, and the qualities of leadership also come with, you're putting yourself out there, at the head, you're the one who, you're like at the prow of the boat. You're the one who's breaking through the waves. So it takes a certain amount of not only strength, but also savvy.
Yeah, and charisma, almost like a certain...
Right. Yeah, charisma, presence, but also the ability to engage others. And not just with your power and force, but by actually being a benefit. Like the alpha dog does something that benefits the tribe. Otherwise, they wouldn't be the alpha dog.
Yeah, and when you say, it's funny, I'm not a lion, so I don't know, but I have a feeling that when I'm the chief lion, the kahuna lion, I actually care about moving my tribe at the right time and making sure the lioness are protected when she's having babies, and right there, it's not about I'm the big kahuna on the mountain. It's
and everybody comes and like brings me food. Although with lions, the lionesses are the ones who hunt, and they bring the food to the big guy.
Yes, but that's also because while he's not chasing the food, he's also protecting the tribe. And again, I'm not lion, and I'm not, certainly not who studies animals.
Zoologist, I think. Maybe all of the.
You know what I'm talking about? People that
I do. Yes,
behavioral. I'm not a behavioralist of lions, but there is a sense that in nature, it never is about flattering your ego and achieving status and being better than the neighbor. It really is about, of all of us, I stand out to say that I'm the one who can protect this tribe better.
Right. Yeah, I have these particular qualities, but my sense is also that it's based on a realistic, that is, in real life, what actually happens and the results you can see, the qualities that each of us have that either contribute or don't.
Yeah.
And so as you're growing these new qualities and also embodying them, there's this sense of, am I actually presencing? Am I being with this expansion of my capabilities? And are other people letting me do that?
Mm-hmm.
So there is also the sense of, there may be several of us who, are growing our skills, and then who gets to be the one that's, in charge for right now. So that sense of being graceful at letting go of the leadership and letting somebody else move into leadership. I think humans are pretty awkward at that, of sharing leadership rather than dominating until you're ready to fall over. And we're looking at our political leadership right now. Like, when are you too old?
Mm-hmm.
And, when, people like saying Biden is too old. And I was really looking at, well, God, when you get the payoff is you get this incredible wisdom and experience and savvy in dealing with situations that, people who may be stronger or more vigorous don't have the experience. So our evaluating of what really matters for our collective well-being, I think that's really up for grabs right now. And part of what I'm so excited that you and I are up to is recognizing that our presencing with each other, our supporting each other, but also being fully in our own presence is a gift, not only to us, but it's a gift to others. And my sense is that you're in that transition right now, like, I'm feeling pretty full of myself, but I really can't, because I'm going to get, I'm going to get bashed.
On the pickleball court. I don't experience it that much. That's why it's cool, because I don't experience it in friendship or relationships or my regular life, other than somehow it got activated on the court. It reminds me of when I was very young. I don't know, when you don't know what you don't know, but I was definitely searching what I wanted to do with my career. And one of the things I started was organizing these experiences where companies, like executive teams or whole teams, could go and do something in nature, or, so I would, I was probably in my 20s. Looking back, it's kind of funny. I'm not sure I knew enough to really, well, in this case it was. So we organized to build a bridge. We took them to a place where there was a river, and the job was, as a team, with the CEO, the receptionist, everybody was there to, contribute their own. And so, of course, the executive team takes the lead, and they know what they're doing, and so we're all doing this. You want to know that the receptionist, this young woman who actually knew mountains and knew waters and all that, is the one who came up with the really smart solution to solve the problem. Because in that moment, and for this particular thing, she was better suited to really, and so to watch all the C-suite, like all the
yes
wigs, just watching her solve this thing, it shifted the whole balance of this company. Like it became like, who has a solution, as opposed to me at the top,
who has a solution? That's such a great question, rather than who's the top dog.
Yes.
Who should know? And so we looked at that person. And so that's just a great illustration of, I think, how when each of us are fully in our, what I call our muchness, here are the things that I'm really willing to say that I'm skilled at. Yeah. So that in itself takes courage to say, I'm good at something.
Yeah.
And I can contribute here. And then if other people are going, oh, great, what can you, oh yeah, I can really see that you can contribute that. And I so appreciate you bringing that forward, because how would we have known, because we look at you through the roles of, like, you're the receptionist. You're only supposed to be guiding people to other people. Yeah. And that ability to grow and change and shift the collective, it was reminding me of birds who fly, murmuration, where they're somehow they all fly together and they all know when to shift together. I think we're capable of that if we drop down deeply into our sense of presence, but also our sense of connection and our connection with, like, the essence of other people, and inviting that forward. And through the lens of who has the best solution. And God, we're really in need of that right now. Yeah. Who has the solutions?
Yeah, yeah. And it was really beautiful because I remember it was a long time ago, but I vividly remember the shift in the sea people, the powerhouses.
Yes.
Let it, because they saw, and it was almost like because we were doing it physically and it was getting dark and it was a little bit of like a threat of like, are we going to be okay? So they were willing to relinquish, their power because they could see they didn't have it. But what was even more beautiful was to watch her, who started from, well, I can't be talking in this group. These are my bosses. I don't want to, and to watch her accompany herself to like, no, really, I have a solution that really could help. Like the way she knotted the wood, like she knew how to do a knot that could really hold that wood when all the other ones were just, falling through. And so to watch her step into her own power, to be able to say, yeah, maybe I'm the chick in the front, that doesn't make that much money, but meanwhile, I'm the one, who has it. And I'm pretty sure her life was changed by that. Like, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, it's such a big, beautiful illustration of how her courage and her stepping into her contribution shifted the whole relationship of the team.
Including me witnessing. I mean, it's 30 years later and I'm still
right. And it provides a metaphor, but also a real solutions-based difference in how we operate together. So I just find that very inspiring.
So in closing, I love this like how-to that you and I come together with.
Yeah.
If we go back to my little pickleball crisis of yesterday, what is a proper stance, do you think, inside of like, it's almost like I want to know how to show up, because I witnessed some people that are really good players and they wouldn't be my friends. Like they're horrible on the court. I also witnessed people that are more like the underdog, don't threaten. Like, I don't know what a healthy, for lack of a better word, what's a good stance for someone who, right?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I'm just feeling into that. And what I'm thinking is, wow, I'm celebrating me, and I'm celebrating that I can create this with you. So it's recognizing I'm playing the game with you, and each of us are doing our best. So a sense of I'm doing my best and you're doing your best, and here's the outcome here. And I'm just celebrating that because, wow, I learned something. I expanded into something that's new for me. And the celebration of expansion and having other people recognize that, I think that's where we're going. So what I'm hearing at the bottom of that is appreciation. It's a quality of, wow, super. And my ability to see that means that I've let go of enough of my competition that I can celebrate. Great move there.
That is so, I didn't even realize that is, because I immediately went to, when I play against someone when I play with someone or at least there's all of us on the court,
right?
And they play better than me and they do a really beautiful ball, I will be that's exactly where my brain went. I will not be like, oh, they just beat me. I'll go to like, wow, that was really, because I want them to feel wonderful that they had such a beautiful, ball.
Yeah. And what I'm also hearing here is the love of the game.
Yeah.
So, and you love pickleball. There's something about it that you love it. And so I think that's what we're moving to, is to the love of the game. And if we don't love the game, so I'm really intent on creating new games that allow us all to celebrate. Great job. Oh, I was so flummoxed there. And look what you did. Wow, that opened up a whole new. So I think that's where we're going. If we can
catch the right train.
Yes, if we can retrain ourselves to celebrate an advancement, an expansion, a learning that we can all then benefit from. Because if you do something great, I can learn from that.
Yes, and if we really are about the love of the game, a good ball is a good ball. I don't care where it came from. I don't care. Like a good response to the ball is to be celebrated, because like the love of the game is not about the winning. Although, that's really, this is such a rich conversation.
I think there may be more that emerges out of this. And I'm also imagining that our viewers, responders here might have their own illustrations, their own stories, like, oh, that's what happened there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we could shift into, is celebrating.
Yeah. And by the way, share with us. There is an email on the website. When you download the episode, you have all you need to reach out to us. But share stories, people that are listening, auditors, listeners. This was lovely. Katie, thank you again. And thank you, because honestly, we moved my needle. So hopefully it moves.
Oh, I'm so glad. Well, I love dealing with life as it's happening. And what can we learn from that, and how is it a metaphor? And so it was very rich and exciting for me also. So thank you for having that experience and remembering it.
I love you. I love it. And I love you.
Love you.
Mwah.